So we're going to cover the last 4 days, the 25th through, actually 3 days, the 25th through the 27th, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because I had trades that kind of went overnight and extended through that period of time. So I just put them all together on one video here. All right, so we're looking at this channel. I actually have two channels drawn here. One's a little shallower than the other. The other one is red, and this shallower one is purple. And it's kind of helping me to try to figure out how far down it's going to be dropping before it hits bottom and then goes up again. But on the short term, we're looking at a zigzaggy pattern and trying to figure out what the next move will be. Okay, I went ahead and got rid of the Fibonacci lines, just try to clean up the screen a little bit. And I think my best guess is that it's going to go down to this dotted line here, which is the gold SMA. It's the bottom of the steeper channel, which is the more conservative view for the finding the bottom. And so I think it'll probably head down to that point in the next move here. We've kind of got to jog up. It hit a ceiling and it looks like maybe it's going to drop again. So I got into a short and it went up a little bit further, kind of bounced back down again. It's testing it again. And here's the opening bell. And it went up to that gold line and actually broke through it, which was unfortunate, but not a huge loss yet. Now we're finally seeing the downward movement develop. So now I'm in the green momentarily and going back up again. Doesn't seem to want to drop. Pretty much flat this morning. Went up even further, still hanging on to that short position. Okay, now I'm at a $45 loss. Still hanging on here. Just to kind of help keep track of the time, I put in a line where the opening bell happened. Okay, I decided to reverse at this point. I just felt like it was probably going to go up. And looking at the main chart, I think it was just discouragement. I'd been trading for almost 2 hours at this point, and all I'd done was get us a loss. And I really think it's probably near the top of where it's going to go. So I do think this was a mistake, this trade. And sure enough. So we'll see. Okay, it went up a little bit further, sort of, and I decided I could kind of see that happening. So I went ahead and did another reverse at a very small profit. Now I'm in a short again, which I think that's a better place to be. Okay, and it's 11:27 now, so it's an hour later. I think I must have walked away and come back again. Okay, I went ahead and just put in another kind of a channel for that downward turn here. I think surely it's going to drop here soon. And I put in an order. All right, now I'm in the green. Ooh, it's threatening to go back up again. All right, I left it in overnight, and it actually went way, way up, unfortunately. Here's that opening bell, and you can see it just hardly moved at all yesterday. There's never been a time where I could get the whole day's candles like this on the page and be able to see them all. So it was just a really, really slow day. And you can see it actually broke through the top of that little channel that I'd drawn, and it seemed to be going up quite a bit. So my order is in down here, and I still think it's probably going to take that. So I just left it, and I had a nice big drop, got back a great deal of my losses, overnight losses. All right, here's the opening bell for the second day. And I made another call again, thinking that it would probably be going up again. And so I did a reverse order here, but it didn't take it. It just was moving too fast. And you can see here, it should have taken it, but it didn't. So I canceled it. And I kind of rethought my scenario, and I really think it's going to drop. I really, really do. So I think that would have been a bad call to make. And it was near the top anyway, so that was just discouragement making me do that again. Okay, I put a mark in with the second day's opening bell here. And I drew in a Fibonacci line kind of showing how far it might drop. And sure enough, the 78.6% line, which it's very common that it meets that. That's near the bottom of this channel. And so I really think if I just hang on, I think it'll be okay. But I did another reverse order here. And actually that was a good call to make. A very short-term trade, but still not bad. And I got out right here. I didn't quite take it. Back up again. All right, now it took it. And I'm getting into a short again here, which was a good call. Sort of. Oh dear, maybe not. We're back up again. And so I'm putting in a reverse order kind of on this 23.6% line, which is just basically covering my commissions. Lowered it down just a smidge. Okay, and it went down and took it and immediately bounced back up, which was awesome. So now I'm in a positive position here. That was a good call to make too. Gotten back almost all my losses. Well, okay, maybe it wasn't a good call. It broke through. It doesn't want to go up now today. Okay, so I put in an exit order up here. And this is interesting, this little article here. They were talking about a possible sell-off, what might be driving it, rising unemployment, rising bond yields, or some other kind of global exogenous shock. And so they're trying to predict what they think is going to happen next. And this one they think is going to probably trigger the next downturn for the S&P. And they're saying rising yields are the biggest threat. So that's very possible that that's what's coming down the pike. And the main reason that they're saying that, I think, is because we're at near all-time highs right now, and they're getting worried. I think it's probably going to drop, but not too far either. All right, so we seem to be out of a position right now. Just waiting. Let me go back one more time. Okay, so it looks like I put in an exit order here, and it went up and it took it. So now I've actually gained just a little tiny bit for the day. Okay, so I do think it's going to drop at this point. I got into a short, and I left that in overnight, and you can see the exit order over here from yesterday. I put in an exit order here, and I could have gotten a lot more out of that. But by the time I got to the screen, it had bounced back up again, so it's just as well, I guess. So I actually made quite a bit on that trade there. I got out at a decent amount. You can go back and see I was in at 291 in a short, and I got out at 287. So, oh no, excuse me, that was a long position. I got out at 287. Okay, so actually that was very good that I got out there because it dropped immediately after that. So that worked out well. Alrighty. Okay, so this is the third day, and back and see. All right. Okay, so this is the previous order. Okay, so I actually got in another long right here, and it looks like it's probably going to bounce off of that gold SMA and go up a bit more. We've had quite an upturn that recovered from this downturn here, or corrected from the downturn possibly. So I got into a long position there, and then I got out at a small profit. And I was trying to analyze here where there's that dotted line that I drew way down there. I don't know that it's going to go all the way down that far anymore. That's probably too much. Probably the, oh golly. Yeah, probably this line right here. So that's the 61.8%. That's my kind of my new aim prediction right through there as to where it's going to go. Okay, And we can see a divergence here, which means that the price action is going up, but the RSI is losing momentum. So that means that it's probably going to make a downturn. So I went ahead and put in a short order here. Should have waited a little bit. Okay, and I put the blue oval here to show the 30-minute chart where the blue SMA is. And looking at the longer term pattern here, it could very well be that this downturn that it had yesterday was as far down as it's going to go, and it may be on its way up, very possibly. So I'm a little bit nervous about being in a short position right now. It went all the way up to that blue SMA where the oval was, and I was really worried that it was going to go further. But it seemed to maybe be turning. Nope, it went up further. All right, here's the opening bell. I'm still hanging on to that short position, hoping that it doesn't go too badly for me. And kind of bounced at that point, and it looks like I got out. No, I'm still in a short position. Okay, and it seems to be coming back down a little bit. I gave up on it and decided it wasn't going to go below the gold SMA. I think that's the new support that's carrying it up. So I went ahead and put in a reverse order here, which isn't too far above where I got in, so that's not too bad. Then I changed my mind, and I put it in farther down and didn't do a reverse order. I just wanted to get out. Okay, and that was a good call. Ooh, nice, big drop. Okay, and then it kind of leveled off a little bit, so I raised up my order, and it took, and that worked out very well for me. And I immediately got into another long position because the MACD looks really good. And it actually went all the way down to the support and maybe bounced back up again. And I am seeing this looks like it's possibly going to go up now. We shall see. It's very tricky right here at the decision points. The changing of the tide is a tricky time to be trading. Okay, so I'm in a long position here, and it went the wrong way. So I could have held on to that previous short a lot longer than I did. A lot longer. But I did not, unfortunately. Dropped even further. My trading is not going very well. I had gotten it up to 317, and now I've lost, $60, which is really sad. All right, so we can see another divergence here. And this time it's the opposite of what we saw before. We see that it's gaining momentum, but the price action is getting lower. So I think that my long position will probably work out. I walked away from it, and wouldn't you know, the end of the day, let's see, that was like 3 o'clock-ish. It just took a leap upwards and actually took I didn't take my order. I thought it did. And then I got out and made like $100 on that trade, which was phenomenal. Now I've gotten it back up to the 407. And if you remember, my goal for the month was $510. Kind of ignoring the first 3 numbers here because we're not trading with the full amount. So I'd really kind of given up hope that I would be able to meet that goal. But that was a big boost in the right direction. So I have to make $100 more in the next 2 days, which I don't think is very likely. Actually, 1 day. I've got one more day of trading because they're closed on Friday. I really don't think that's very likely. But, without a goal, you wouldn't reach anything. So I still think, I've made a decent profit and this month. And I will get you the numbers at the end of the next day. So thanks for joining me. Okay, we are on the last day of February. See if we can make a little bit of money today. Probably won't meet our goal that I had suspected, but okay, so we're looking at the 4-hour chart here. We've kind of reached bottom here, and I readjusted the channel so that it actually showed that. It went up quite a bit there and kind of leveled out overnight, and now we're seeing that it has kind of a ceiling here, but I do think that it probably will rise in the next day or two, or maybe it'll be next week, but by the time it gets up to the top, I don't know, but I think it will. Okay, so we are in a long position here, but we are kind of near the top of the peak, near the ceiling, so that probably wasn't the best time to get in. I probably should have waited a little bit, but this big candle formed so quickly that kind of worried me that I was going to miss out. So that FOMO got me. But watch out for that. Okay, so then it dropped below where that candle had actually formed even, and so I lost quite a bit of money on that trade so far. And I'm trying to decide, was I wrong? Am I going to have to reverse here, or should I just stay put? And if you look at the 15-minute chart, you can see we're still kind of in that band, flat band here. I would say I'm not too worried yet. If it dropped below, that point right there, maybe not quite the bottom of the peak here, but if it dropped below that point, then I would really get worried. So that's quite a bit down there. We're just, unfortunately, I just got it in a bad place, which I kind of saw coming, actually. It was just when you're in the moment and you see big green candles form, you just kind of feel like you need to be in. And sometimes it just gets you if you don't watch out. Okay, so I drew my Fibonacci lines, and I'm thinking this is going to be where it's going to go at the 53, 35-ish, 33-ish kind of range, which is, you can see it probably best on this chart here, which is, at the top of that channel that I drew. Just waiting for it to get up there, and I may have to wait a while. I may actually leave this, kind of planning on leaving this particular position in for a long period of time. Okay, here's the opening bell, and unfortunately it did drop down a little bit at the opening bell. Usually that's not a very good sign. Okay, and it bottomed out, hit the support, and went right back up again. Okay, and now it's actually broken through the highest high that it's been before, which is a good time for it to drop and recover a little bit. As you see that it did, it went down to the cold SMA and then went back up again. And kind of waiting for a big movement upwards, and I'm just not seeing it. It just goes up a little bit and then it drops back down to that support. Actually broke through it a little bit. Okay, and then it went above it again. It's just really, really, really slow. And I'm not really watching it. I'm sitting here doing other things and taking my screenshots, but I'm not really intending to get out at a high. So I finally decided when it got up to that point, that was pretty close to the highest it had been, and it just like flattened out. And I actually made like $20 or something on that trade. So I got out, and then I decided that was it for the month. So anyway, here's my numbers. Thank you for joining me.